The American motorhome dream is burning out fast.
RV rentals, they spiked 50% year over year over Labor Day, according to RV Share. That's the largest U.S. peer-to-peer marketplace for RVs in the U.S.
Sales are crashing, lots are overflowing, and 7 major brands are on life support. Families who bought into the motorhomes lifestyle are watching values plummet while dealers drown in unsold stock. Behind the glossy ads, the truth is brutal. Layoffs, unpaid invoices, and factories cutting shifts just to survive. These companies built America's highways, but now they might not make it to 2026. If you've ever owned a motorhome or plan to, what's coming next could cost you thousands. Gulfstream Coach, the budget brand crushed by inflation. You can feel the slowdown before you even see it. The once steady hum around Gulfstream Coach has gone quiet. Production lines that used to run from dawn until dark now echo with the sound of waiting. Waiting for materials, waiting for orders, waiting for relief that never comes. For decades, Gulfstream meant value. It was the name families turned to when they wanted something honest, something simple, something built without pretense. But that promise has been buried under the weight of a market that no longer adds up. Inflation hit this company harder than most. Between 2020 and 2024, the cost of plywood rose by 44%, steel framing jumped by 38%, and every roll of insulation nearly doubled. Gulfstream tried to absorb the blow, but when suppliers demanded cash up front and transport costs climbed by nearly half again, the math simply broke. The rigs rolled off the line heavier in price and lighter in demand. Inside the Indiana plants, shifts that once rotated through 3 crews now operate as 1. Payroll sheets from midsummer show cuts so deep that even foremen are pulling double duty. A workforce that once topped 1,190 has fallen below 700. These are not rumors. They are the quiet signatures of a company fighting to keep the lights on. Dealers across the Midwest confirm the slowdown. Floor plan interest charges average $320 per unsold unit every month. Multiply that across dozens of rigs that refuse to move, and you can see why small town lots are desperate. Inventory aged past 90 days triggers penalty fees, and those penalties eat the margins faster than any discount can repair. The result is visible on the ground. Rows of unsold coaches line the yards, their stickers curling under the sun. Some still wear last spring's dust. The same dealers who once praised Gulfstream's reliability now whisper about survival timelines, not sales goals. This is not collapse by mismanagement. It is erosion by economics, a slow grind of rising costs meeting shrinking wallets. Gulfstream built its legacy on affordability, but when affordability itself disappears, even the most honest brand runs out of road. And what happens when a company known for value discovers that value no longer exists? The answer leads directly into the next story, one where heritage alone can't hold the line. Airstream, the luxury icon, losing its buyers. There is still something magnetic about the shine of an Airstream under showroom lights, that mirror-finished aluminum, those perfect curves, the same design language that once symbolized freedom, craftsmanship, and American travel. Yet, beneath that reflection, the numbers tell a colder story. The symbol of success has become a snapshot of saturation. The market that once chased every new unit now hesitates, calculating interest, resale, and repair. In 2021, the average Airstream left the factory within 8 weeks. By late 2025, that turnover stretched to 11 months. Nearly 4,800 units sit in storage fields across the Midwest, silent under tarps. The price tag that used to read $87,000 now lists closer to $127,000. At the same time, the average American household income has barely nudged upward, while loan rates hover around 8%. The gap between admiration and affordability has never been wider. Dealers describe the silence of empty showrooms. Discounts that used to be marketing gimmicks are now acts of survival. One retailer in Ohio admitted to cutting margins by nearly 40% just to move inventory. But even those markdowns don't erase the problem. When production outpaces buyers, every unsold coach becomes another unpaid invoice waiting for attention. Inside the Ohio facilities, skilled aluminum welders have been replaced by rotating contractors. Production reports leaked from September show a 39% drop in output year over year, but defect rates doubled. Each correction correction eats into profit, and each delay chips away at confidence. Airstream's signature polish remains flawless on the outside, but corrosion begins where it's hardest to see, in the books, not the bodywork. Auction sheets confirm the fallout. Used units that once held near gold value are now down 27% from last summer's peak. A rig that cost $90,000 12 months ago now struggles to clear $65,000. For a brand built on prestige, that kind of depreciation strikes deeper than a recall. It bruises reputation. Airstream's leadership calls this temporary correction. Dealers call it saturation, and owners call it a warning, a reminder that even icons can outprice loyalty. The shine is still there for now, but it's the reflection of a past era, not a future market, because once prestige turns into pressure, the question isn't who wants one, it's who can still afford one. And the next brand proves that when cost meets corner cutting, heritage alone cannot keep the wheels turning. If this breakdown makes sense, and you've seen these warning signs in your own area, hit like, subscribe, and share your take below. Your insight helps expose what's really happening inside this market before the next wave hits. Coachmen RV. The brand dealers are abandoning. Walk through almost any small-town dealership today, and you can spot the Coachmen section before you even see the name. The signs are faded, the price tags are rewritten by hand, and the sales staff avoids eye contact, hoping no one asks about warranty delays or unpaid parts claims. Once upon a time, this company was considered a steady player in the middle tier of the motorhome world, affordable, reliable, and trusted. But by mid-2025, the silence around its lots has become impossible to ignore. Production reports show output down by more than 40% compared to 2022. At the same time, warranty claims filed through the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration have surged by 62%. Leaked internal communication from April of 2025 included a line no dealer ever wants to read: temporary suspension of parts reimbursement pending audit of dealer claims. That phrase means one thing: dealers were waiting weeks, sometimes months, to be paid for warranty repairs on units that should never have shipped in the first place. The deeper you look, the clearer the story becomes. Coachmen expanded fast during the pandemic years when materials were scarce and labor was temporary. Foam insulation replaced heavier core panels. Electrical routing was simplified to save time. Quality inspections were shortened. Every shortcut made sense in the moment, until the moment passed. Now, those choices are showing up in the service bays. Electrical faults, water leaks, wall delamination. Each repair adds hours, cost, and resentment. Dealers have begun walking away. One longtime retailer in Fort Wayne admitted, "Every Coachmen I take in costs me twice, once to floor it, once to fix it." The math backs him up. At current interest rates near 8%, the carrying cost on each unsold unit runs roughly $320 a month. Multiply that by a lot full of 120 rigs, and you're looking at nearly $38,000 in monthly debt service before a single sale. The result is a full collapse of confidence. Private listings now undercut trade-in offers by several $1,000s. Resale has fallen more than 25% below book value in less than a year. For a brand built on trust, that kind of distrust spreads fast. Coachmen's decline isn't theatrical, it's procedural. One decision at a time, one unpaid claim at a time, one dealer stepping away after too many broken promises. And as this chapter closes, another begins, a story not of a brand falling, but of an empire starting to crack from within. Thor Motor Coach, the empire cracking from within. There is a heavy silence inside the Thor Motor Coach plants these days, the kind of silence that follows motion that has stopped. For years, Thor stood like a giant, buying competitors, absorbing smaller builders, and calling it growth. It was the empire of modern motorhomes, claiming nearly 40% of North America's entire production volume. But by the end of 2025, the weight of that empire is beginning to crush itself. The warning signs are visible in the paperwork long before they show on the factory floor. Thor Industries filings reveal a debt load above $4 billion, a figure that once seemed sustainable when sales were climbing, but now reads like an anchor in shallow water. Production output in the company's fiscal third quarter fell by 48% compared to the same period 1 year earlier. Inventory overhang reached $312 million. That means units built, paid for, and parked, waiting for buyers who no longer qualify for loans. Employees in Indiana describe yards packed tight with unfinished shells, some lacking in interiors, others missing appliances, all waiting for dealer orders that never arrive. Those yards stretch for acres, the aluminum catching sunlight like warning flares. The official explanation from management calls it temporary realignment. The reality, whispered by the workers who once filled those spaces, sounds far less temporary. Dealers feel the pressure next. Floor plan lenders charge interest on every unsold rig, and when those costs compound, the losses climb fast. One Midwest retailer put it bluntly, "They ship them faster than I can sell them. The bank calls before the first test drive." That single sentence explains Thor's problem in full. The system only works when everything moves. When it stalls, the debt multiplies. Customer trust has weakened too. Complaint filings about slide-out failures and roof leaks have doubled since 2023, while warranty processing times stretch beyond 2 months. These are the small cracks that reveal a deeper fracture, a company too large to pivot and too leveraged to pause. Thor's success was built on acquisition, on momentum, on the idea that size itself guaranteed safety. But growth without restraint is just another form of risk. And now the empire that once seemed untouchable is learning that lesson in real time. Because when giants stumble, they do not fall quietly. They take part of the ground with them. And the brand that once ruled the market may soon become the proof that even dominance can decay from within. Keystone RV, the volume king, running out of buyers. Across Indiana's industrial horizon, acres of white rooftops shimmer under the sun. Not factories in motion, but fields of inventory that will not move. Those rows belong to Keystone Recreational Vehicles, once known as the volume king of the American motorhome market. For decades, the brand thrived on one rule: build more, sell more. That rule worked in an era of cheap credit and steady demand. But by 2025, that rule has turned against them. The numbers tell the story in plain sight. During the height of the lockdown surge in 2021, Keystone produced more than 130,000 units. It was a record that felt unstoppable, but new production forecasts for 2025 show output falling to roughly 75,000, a collapse of more than 40% in just 4 model years. The factory yards once proud of non-stop work now stand half-lit, with shifts reduced to 1 and entire production lines idled for lack of orders. Dealers on the ground confirm what the spreadsheets already say. They are sitting on rigs for more than 90 days, paying interest charges near 8% on unsold floor plan loans. At $300 per unit per month, the math is brutal. Multiply that across dozens of unsold coaches, and profit vanishes before a single sale clears the books. Drone images taken above the Goshen complex in early autumn show trailers parked bumper to bumper, row upon row, stretching as far as the camera lens can reach. Each one represents money that left the factory but never came back. Auction data shows Keystone units once priced at $62,000, now selling near $33,500. Dealers face oversupply, workers face rotation, and morale collapses. Overproduction meets empty demand, turning growth into liability. The company that symbolized momentum now represents a stalled engine running low on trust. Because the next story is not about slowing down. It is about what happens when the backbone of the entire supply chain begins to break. If you want the full list of brands at risk before prices shift again, make sure you're subscribed. The next report drops soon, and it could change how you look at every dealer lot in the country. Rev Group, the backbone breaking. Every industry has a backbone, the quiet manufacturer that keeps the rest of the market standing. In the world of American motorhomes, that role has long belonged to Rev Group. For years, it built not only its own brands, but also the structural systems and chassis that many others relied on. But today, that backbone is beginning to bend. What once looked like strength now resembles strain under the sheer weight of debt, delays, and disappearing demand. Public filings tell the truth without emotion. Rev Group's recreational vehicle division carries more than $1,100 million in long-term debt. That number alone would not be fatal in a healthy market. But this one is far from healthy. In just 2 fiscal years, total revenue has dropped by 48%, while operating losses continue to widen quarter after quarter. Investors once praised the company's diversification. Now that same sprawl looks like overextension. Inside the Decatur, Indiana facilities, the slowdown is impossible to miss. Workers describe entire weeks when assembly lines stop cold because vendors will not ship components until invoices clear. Imagine standing on a factory floor, surrounded by half-finished coaches, wiring hanging loose, Dashboards uninstalled because one supplier is waiting to be paid by another. That domino effect turns a backlog into paralysis. Dealers cut orders as warranty delays stretch and confidence fades. Analysts call REV's debt beyond the red zone, with lenders tightening credit and factories starving for materials. Production slows, morale drops, overtime vanishes. Each paycheck feels like a countdown inside a company collapsing under debt and disappearing trust. Rev Group built the backbone of this industry. Engines, frames, entire platforms. If that backbone gives out, the effect will not stop at one company. It will echo through dealers, suppliers, and owners across the map. And yet, beyond that echo lies a larger shadow, the single largest name in American motorhomes, now facing the same storm at an even greater scale. Forest River, the titan, too big to save. There is a tremor running through the heart of Elkhart County, and it carries the sound of a giant slowing down. Forest River, the name that once meant unstoppable production, is learning that size no longer guarantees safety. For decades, the company defined the shape of the American recreational vehicle market. It built everything: travel trailers, fifth wheels, motorhomes, even cargo and marine divisions. Under the ownership of Berkshire Hathaway, it appeared indestructible. Yet the deeper you look at the numbers coming out of 2025, the more that illusion fades. A leaked internal report from late September lists Class C motorhome output down by 37% year over year. Layoffs have spread through both the Elkhart and Goshen facilities, with overtime frozen since June. 2 subcontractors have already pulled out, citing unpaid invoices stretching beyond 90 days. At the same time, dealer defaults have climbed 29%. Forcing Forest River to absorb units that never reached customers. Those rigs are not assets. They are liabilities sitting in storage, depreciating by the week. Nationwide, dealers are now sitting on more than 11,000 unclaimed Forest River units. Each one carries an average floor plan financing charge of $300 a month. Multiply that by the full inventory, and the interest bill alone exceeds $10 million before the next quarter even begins. The sheer volume that once powered this brand has become the anchor dragging it down. Insiders reveal Forest River is consolidating, merging sub-brands to survive. Suppliers face delayed payments, shipments stall, and dealers report silence. Once built on endless volume, the company's vast scale now suffocates profit. What was growth has become weight, turning America's largest motorhomes maker into a slow, quiet collapse. And as that silence spreads through the factories of Indiana, it signals more than one company's struggle. It marks the moment when an entire industry realizes its biggest name might also be its biggest warning. That's the truth behind America's motorhome meltdown. Which brand do you think goes first? Comment your guess below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. More insider breakdowns are coming, and you'll want to see them before the next price crash hits.